So, JP, one of the things I want to talk about is you guys have kind of three core ideas, kind of as you guys keep pushing forward. And one of them is that there's going to be continued distrust in these centralized institutions. Maybe help us understand kind of what you mean by that and how you see that playing out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you go back to the 2008 financial crisis, you had a majority of Americans saying, let them fail, let them fail. And both political parties went against the American populace and were in support of bailouts for these banks. And so I think that's where the origin really started. And then if you look at the presidential election of 2016 or the presidential election of 2020, doesn't matter which side you're on, either side thought the other side stole the election. And so now you have a majority of people in America who are starting to think, is the electoral process in favor of me as an American? I just saw a statistic yesterday that said the first time more than 50% of people identify as independent, not either party. And so then if we look at kind of what happened with AWS and some of the issues with Parler, and if we look at Robinhood and GameStop, I mean, that was the most recent one where people were just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me that Robinhood is doing this? And so I think these sorts of things are going to continue, and it's only going to cause more distrust for people. And not to mention that the biggest and most obvious one is the Federal Reserve saying, hey, we're going to print $1.9 trillion, whether you like it or not. And so people are starting to look for alternatives, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and it feels like a lot of the centralized entities, part of the problem is that they are human-led. There's, emotion, there's greed, there's fear, there's just mismanagement. And so in a lot of these decentralized products, what you get is you just get algorithmic governance, right? Or you get true governance by the people. And it feels like that's just a solution that people are getting more and more comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with that. With the rise of DeFi right now, it's still very complicated, but there's so much interest in these systems and protocols because of the promise that they offer. If we take a look at, like the lending platforms, whether it's Compound or Aave, these things, taking a loan out on the blockchain is really cool. It's just difficult to use today.
Yeah. And then when you start to think through kind of DeFi in general, I know another theme that you're really focused on is the idea that more and more people are going to flock to decentralized financial applications. Sounds like you're probably less religious about where exactly that's going to happen from the kind of the tribal wars of different blockchains, but more so just like decentralized financial applications will be the standard. They will become more popular over time. And so you at Exodus want to figure out how to kind of serve as an interface and a connectivity point to wherever the market adopts those applications.
That's exactly right. So this last summer, we had a integration with Compound Finance and then SportX. A lot of people haven't heard the name SportX, but it's a really cool decentralized betting platform, sports betting platform. And so we had integrations with both these platforms, and they're both built on Ethereum. And so we all know what's happened with Ethereum and the rise of the gas prices. And it started to make, if you're going to put a $40 or $50 bet down on a game and you got to pay $30 or $40 on gas fees, you're just not going to do it. And so for us, we don't have a horse in the race, whether it's Ethereum or some other blockchain, but we just want a blockchain that people find useful and it's cost efficient and it just works for the average person.